Don Randi is a keyboard player. He's a band leader, composer, sideman, and author. He has performed on numerous recordings, unbelievable, as we'll get into, including the famous Wrecking Crew, also a diversity of artists such as the Beach Boys, Linda Ronstadt, Quincy Jones, Cannonball Adderley, Frank Sinatra, Frank Zappa, The Wall of Sound with Phil Spector, on and on and on. He's played live on stage with Nancy and Frank Sinatra. He's released his own jazz albums, fronted a band called Quest, and he owns the famous club, The Baked Potato, in Studio City, California. You had a lot to do with pulling together Cracklin Rose, too, right?
Yeah.
With Neil Diamond in the studio.
That was so lucky for me.
I loved that song when I was a kid. There's something about it. I love melody.
We did. That's a good story. Hal and I were brought back into overdub.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there after we did our parts, and I think Tommy Catalano was the producer. And as Hal's walking past me, we're at Sound Recording, Armin Steiner's place in Hollywood. And I said, boy, do I know what to do with this song. And that's all I said, and I'm sitting doodling at the piano.
Yeah.
And Hal goes in, my buddy, and says something to Tommy and to Neil, and Neil comes out, he says, let's go to my house this afternoon. And I got to arrange, I put all the horn parts and string parts on Cracklin Rosie, and it was the first #1 record for me that I had arranged.
Wow.
Great song.
And beautiful. I have pleasant memories hearing it as a teenager. I got a question for you. I recently saw a clip of Brian Wilson with sitting down with George Martin, and they were talking about God Only Knows. And George Martin was really enamored with it. And Brian Wilson basically said that when Martin asked him about music, he said, where does it come from? And Brian says it comes from a higher place in the mind, and then he said real music comes from the heart. What do you think about that?
I think he's absolutely right. And of all songs that you picked, there's a section of that in the middle where it goes bump, bump, bumpy, bump, ba-da-da-da-da, bump. Brian and I had a fun argument over that. Actually, you can find this on YouTube, too. We were going back and forth, and I said, Brian, let me play it short. Everybody should play that part short because he had it playing very flowing and pretty. And I talked him into it.
Wow.
And that's how it ended up on the record.
Wow.
The short version. What a great song. Oh, my goodness.
Fantastic song and very well written.